Now, our good friend, fellow Sky News host Steve Price, has written a brilliant piece in the Herald Sun this weekend, spelling out how obsessed, debt-stricken Victoria is with climate change. He wrote, quote, "Imagine, if you can, what Tuesday would have been like if the climate crusaders had their way and our coal-fired power stations didn't exist. Tuesday's winds were so strong, the fields of wind turbines would have been turned off, rendered useless." Now, as we know, more than 500,000 Victorians were left without power last week when the energy grid collapsed. But the state government reckons everything is working as it should. I mean, Chris, you know, the argument was being run by some was that, well, this is the fault of coal-fired power because you had your Lawn and Loy Yang A went offline. But the point is, the only reason they go offline is because the thing short-circuited. But they're so badly maintained because they're planning to shut them down anyway. And once you run out of power, there was nothing there.
The reason Victoria had such dire problems is because of the fragile grid, because of the transition to renewable energies. That's incontestable, right? Now, on climate change, let me just say something at the outset to make sure people don't get the wrong impression. Those bushfires in Victoria last week were terrible. People lost homes and lost property. There's threat to lives. People put their lives at risk fighting them. Absolutely, that's the case, and that's terrible, and we all understand that. But these were very typical summer bushfires in Australia. We get these conditions every summer and worse. And I saw an ABC news report late last week which talked about another example of our extreme summer. Now, this summer, you'll all remember, back in September, October last year, the bomb and all of the media and all the climate activists were saying, this is going to be the worst summer we've had since Black Summer. This is, you know, it's going to be drought conditions. It's going to be dry and hot. What's happened? We've had a wet and mild summer across most of the country. Yet still, instead of recognising that, on the ABC, they take the one day of bushfire and they talk about the extreme summer. These people are obsessed. They're ideological and religious about this stuff. And we've just got to deal with the climate we've got, which has always been dangerous over summer. And no matter how wet, coming from South Australia, as I do, Joe would know this being a Victorian, Tasmanians are the same. Doesn't matter how wet summer has been to this point, you can still have a very dangerous February, March, April, because you always get the dry periods, and if it dries off, it'll go up. So there's never such a thing as a safe bushfire season in southeastern Australia.
The same people who wanted to give Indigenous Australians a voice are shutting them up when it comes to climate, because every Indigenous person you'll ever speak to says that we've always had fires. They actually used to start fires to start regeneration of certain plants and also for their safety in their communities. It's a normal way of life. It always has been. So, you know, I find it quite ironic that they don't want to listen to them on this particular issue.